it was because of the fact that I'd stopped menstruating for about 12 months, and then went on my first ever cruise with Donna and got my period. And I went, you frigging kidding me? Like, what the?
Yes.
I was really, really ticked off. And then I went to Bali about 6 months later, and I got a period again. And I was like, bugger off. I'm just 2 holidays and I keep... So that's when I started my journey in going to the doctors, because I knew that there was something wrong.
Yes.
And then, yeah, so I can talk. If you want me to talk about that, I can. If you don't, then that's all right too.
Yeah, please do so. Please do so, because it's all to do with menstruation, right? So, you know, when you have a regular menstruation, you know, and it stops and suddenly you skip a few months, that's abnormal, isn't it? So yeah. So in your case, it was it the cancer that made it stop, or
uterine
was it
cancer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, what happened was when they'd done an internal on me, it turned out that my uterus wall had gotten quite thick, and that was unusual for women going through menopause, because our walls of our uterus get thin, apparently, and I didn't know that.
Mm.
And so they did an ultrasound, and that's when they found a stage 3 adenocarcinoma. So it was a bad one, but I was just really lucky that it was all found in situ, and they were able to take it out in the whole hysterectomy, and never had to follow up with any chemo. Or in fact, I've got my 12-month checkup next week, and everything's hoping that everything's clear. So
we say congratulations. You know, I'm sure it will be clear. Yeah. So you were already. Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So you were already in menopause before they found out the cancer?
Yeah. Yeah.
How long were you in menopause for?
It was close to 2 years.
And then suddenly you had a period?
I hadn't had a period.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, 12 months. I went exactly 12 months and then had a period in Donna's cruise. And then it was another 6 months later, and I got another period when I went to Bali. So it was over an 18-month period. And they always say, a lady had said to me, if you go more than 12 months without a period, then you're in full-on menopause. But if you get your period before then you're not. And I was like, oh, you got to basically start again. So
the period came on one day before, yeah?
Yes, and I was really ticked, because I thought, God, do I have to go another 12 months before I can start that cycle again? And for me to get my period, go through menstruation or menopause really late, because both my mother and my sister went through their menopause when they were like 48 and 50. Well, I didn't start until I was 56.
Wow.
So
did you get your period really late when you started, you know, like a teenager?
Yes, I didn't get mine until I was almost 15.
Because in Chinese medicine, they say average is about 30 years of menstruation. So if you are late in menopause, often it goes late. You're getting it in an older age. So if you were 12, you probably would have stopped possibly about 2:45, but because you started at 15, yeah. Oh, 15. Oh my gosh, you're really late. Oh, sorry, that's really late. But on the other end, they say the longer you got your period, the healthier you are as a woman.
Oh, well, that's not, well, I know, apart from having that, you know, like the cancer, but I also believe too that was, I did a check on that and found out that uterine cancer is directly connected to mother issues. And I've got huge mother issues with my mum, because she's a narcissist, and I'd stepped away from the family for a good 8 years. And when I realised I had the cancer, it was like, hey, righto, you've got to go and face your mum, and you've got to face your fears and work through it. And I've done that, and we're on a much better place now.
Oh, fantastic news. So in your opinion, you know, like if you knew all about what would you have liked to know more about menopause? What would have helped you?
Well, sadly, about 10 or 15 years ago, my mum took me to that musical Menopause, and with a whole heap of her bowling friends, and she thought I'd really enjoy it. Well, it wasn't. It was the exact opposite, Jose. I was horrified because I didn't like the fact of thinking that I was going to go through not being able to remember where I parked the car and breaking down crying in front of strangers and then getting really angry and then losing my memory and not being able to find things and walking into rooms going, what did I come in here for? The rest of the audience thought it was hilarious because they were much older women and obviously been through it. But for somebody who hadn't gone through menopause, I said it was a horror show. I didn't think it was a comedy because that's something I wasn't actually looking forward to. To me, that sounded pretty crappy. So when I started to get the symptoms of, I was like, oh, thank God I'm not going to get a period anymore. Just as I got to the stage where emotionally I was actually not fighting it anymore, because I spent a long time really not feeling comfortable with my period. To me, it was kind of messy, and I've never had children either. So it was always a part of me that I hadn't really felt really comfortable with. So when it started and I started to have, I remember my husband saying, oh, you're in a really grumpy mood, you know, what's your problem? And I was like, well, shit, you know, for bloody 56 years of my life, I've been a nice person and I'm a bit pissed off, right? And what I found was I can't not speak my truth now. And I went the other extreme and I turned into like Godzilla. Like, don't even look at me the wrong way or I'm going to take your head off. And I remember one night looking at my husband trying to plot how I could kill him because I was just really, and I'm not like that at all. You know, I escort cockroaches out of the house and blowflies and stuff like that, right? But I'm looking at my husband going, I want to kill you. I really seriously just want to murder you. So
it's very interesting.
It's really, yes, it is unsettling because you get that you could be the kindest, sweetest, most gentle human female, and all of a sudden you get this look of I just want to kill some bugger, like, and I started to see things about my mum, like some of the things that she would say, and I was like, oh my God, I'm channeling her.
So you don't think it's a good idea to warn people about menopause, what can happen?
I think it's a great idea to warn them, but just not to make it like it's a funny show to go and watch because.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Like I would much rather have straight up, this is what can happen to you, than I understand why they did the musical, and for the women who have gone through it, it's a great old laugh. I could probably sit back and go, yep, remember all the things. To someone who hadn't gone through menopause and who doesn't, and when you're younger, you don't really look forward to getting older anyway.
No, that's the thing. Yeah.
So that did not excite me at all.
Yes, and you know, partners are suffering too. You know, I'm always amazed. I'm not sure I've told him that, but I'm always amazed that he stuck it out with me because I actually I hated his smell. Woo! The smell, the chains. I didn't like his smell. I hear you. I didn't want to be near him. I didn't want to have any sex. Don't touch me. Go away. You're awful. I had those things in my head. I didn't want to murder me, maybe, but I definitely didn't want to be part of his life. That was for sure. And maybe this is one of the reasons too, where a lot of maybe women separate as well at around that age. You know, they have enough, they can't stand it anymore, walk away. You know, and but who knows? Maybe this is part of the menopause too, and then we end up with no money, no support. We're a total mess. You know, so Yeah, so if you're aware of it, then you can maybe celebrate it and say, hey, husband, I really think you smell. I'm sorry, but I got really hot flushes. Can you just stay away from me? I ended up in a separate bed, because honestly, I couldn't stand the smell. So I ended up for a few years in another bed. So just to keep the relationship going, otherwise I would have walked out.
Well, I agree. And I had to separate from my husband about, oh, it'll be 2 years now that we've been in separate bedrooms because the menopause, the big thing is not being able to sleep so well.
That's
And
right.
he's a real fidget and he just would fidget and of course, I wake at the sound of a fairy farting.
Yes.
So I said, I've got to be in my own space. And plus, the other thing is you throw the covers on, you throw the covers off, you
Yes.
throw the covers on. And he sleeps in 18-degree air conditioning. And that's just too extreme for me. So,
Mm.
but in our case, I've actually separated from my husband. I'm in the process of leaving him now. And I'm, the other thing is too, I don't know whether having a hysterectomy, because now I'm also going through vaginal atrophy, which is just another thing to add to the menopause. And when the doctor told me, I said, "Is atrophy about death? Like, does that mean my vagina is actually dying?" And she said, "Well, yeah, but that's normal." And I'm like, "Maybe for you it is, but it's, that's sort of like saying I'm now on the shelf." And
Mm.
the sexual drive does actually diminish, and
Yes.
that's really sad.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
really sad part too.
That's right. And
So
that's right. Yeah.
it's quite a journey that we go on, but I have heard a few women who've been through the whole process of menopause who've said that once they've finished altogether, whatever the symptoms, your hot flushes, and then your body comes back with the sexual desire again. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's why they call it menopause. We're having a pause
Of
about
men.
being with men.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, MEN is man. Oh, of
yeah,
course. Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely. But the thing is, yeah, it's good to come on the other side, because you really don't care what other people about you think anymore. But I do see it a little bit like, when you were a teenager, you go through puberty. I was so suicidal and so bad. So it's almost like being older and have puberty, but then but then 10 times worse, because you're an adult, you should know better. And why am I grumpy? Because I have no idea why I'm grumpy, and blah blah blah, and goes you create this monkey mind. And yeah, yeah. Anyways,
I must say, I'm on a product called Mr. Jones that I got onto about 4 months ago,
yeah,
and it's 2 tablets in the morning and 2 tablets at night. There's a lot of B vitamins in it,
yeah.
and that for me personally has really helped with the emotional stuff.
Oh,
So I
good.
seem to be a lot more calmer. I'm able to actually speak my truth without having, like having negative things come out of my mouth. I'm not doing a Zoom call, babe. Sorry. Um, yeah, so I can actually have conversations without being nasty, nasty, horrible. And I can go up. In fact, I'm probably scarier because I whisper when I'm really, really not
Ooh,
happy, right?
that's
So
dangerous.
that's right. If you push me to being very controlled and quiet, look out.
Watch
And
out.
he now knows, and so does a few people who've seen that. No, not, and it just comes across, and it's actually the first time I think I've ever felt power in my life, like
Mm,
actual personal um, ability to stand up. And like I went and got a takeaway today, and for some reason I just stopped, and it was Guzman and Gomez, and I didn't want rice, I didn't want beans, and for some reason I just got, have a look at it before you drive off. And because I'd gone through the drive-through, and I opened it up, and it was only half a container. And I looked at it and I went, I didn't pay $14.90 for half a container of food. So I just walked back in and I said, I'm sorry, but you're not going to charge me $14.90. And I took the lid off for that. And he went, okay. And he just went to the till and got the money out.
Oh, he didn't. Oh.
He didn't ask. He just gave me the money back. And I was like, fine, I'll take my money back. Thank you. And I was like, wow, I must have looked quite angry. He didn't argue. He didn't question. He looked at it and went and got the money, and that was it. So,
there you go.
I'm astounded how I don't feel guilty anymore about speaking up. I don't feel I don't really care anymore in a nice way if people have negative thoughts about me. I don't.
That's the good thing about, so that's the good thing about coming to the other side, right?
It's the best thing about it. And I can look at my body and say, you know what, for nearly 60 years of age, you're looking pretty okay. Like, good on you, girl. Like, I'm really proud of the fact of the journey that I've had and that I'm still here. So
that's right. That's right.
positives.
That's right. And we only really, we're the only ones that really bothers about our own body, thinking, oh, we are too fat. Another person don't even think like that. Who cares? Most people don't care how you look like. Most people don't even see it. It's only us that makes it so hard for ourselves to think, look at this bum, look at this belly, look at look at my nose or my chin or my teeth,
I'm in a menopause group this morning, and there were all these women writing about how they put on so much weight and their belly was big, and I was getting depressed just like reading through the comments. And I decided, blow this. So I said, sorry, girls, I can't join you with this. I said, I look at my body and I consider myself a goddess. Even though I have dimples from my neck down to my ankles, I can look at myself and look at my the things that I've done in my life that have come from the place of my heart to help people. I'm like, why can't I love that about myself? And my body's been on quite a journey over the past 10, 20 years, or 30 years, a sexual journey, and it's been on a lot of ups and downs. And like, I celebrate who I am now. I'm bloody glad I'm still on this planet. I've lost friends that didn't make it to my age. So I'm blessed.
I'm so happy you say that. I'm truly happy.
And it is. It's like I've spent years, Jose, saying, downgrading myself and degrading myself and how I looked and how I appeared. And you're damn right. People spend more time thinking about themselves than they do about anybody else, or taking any time to worry about whether I've got lumps and bumps. We do. We think about us. So, and I got sick of putting myself down all the time.
That's right. So congratulations to you, so now you can celebrate life.
Yes, and not worry about, I went and bought a dress today because I've got a wedding coming up, and it's really sort of flowy and it covers all the lumps and bumps, and I'm like, damn, I'm going to enjoy wearing this dress on the weekend. This is going to be great. But it's only about whether I feel good, not about whether others,
But maybe it's like the menopause, it's a stop, and maybe that's where we go through all the emotions to actually wake up, call and say, hey, you're good as you are, and put your big pants up, pull them up and appreciate yourself, because I believe if you're in menopause and you fight against it, really fight against it, you make it harder for yourself, but if you just enjoy even the hot flushes, like, okay, I know they're really hot. I remember laying next to my husband, my daughter's on one side, the other side is my husband, there's a cat on top of my head, a cat on my chest, and I have a massive hot flushes in summer, and I'm thinking, I want to scream, I want to get out of my skin. But then I thought, no, what can I actually do to calm myself down? So I started to breathe in and cool, I have the cooling down breathing in and out. You do it like this, and there's other ones too, but
Yeah.
it cools down the system. So like that, like,
Wow.
and it cooled myself down because I thought, no, the more I fight, the hotter I get, and the more angry I get, and the more I want to scream and throw an axe, So, but I didn't have an axe then. But yes, so I think what I would like to do for women that listen to your story and say, oh, so there is a good end coming to it, But it
Mm.
also depends how you look at it. You can go into a group and go down, down, down and go with everybody else.
Mm.
Or you can make that choice and say, hang on, I don't feel good actually after this conversation. Let's take it from another side. What can I do, to feel better?
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, so this is the aim of the whole interview with you, to say, hey, there is good stuff coming and waiting for me. Like
There
you said,
certainly is.
yeah, like you said,
Mm.
you can stand up for yourself. I can too. Suddenly I have a voice. I never used to have a voice, but I have one now. So
And
because
people listen, don't they?
yes, because your energy in your words has changed. You no longer feel
Mm.
uncertain. You're no longer like, oh, maybe I said the wrong thing. No, I'm saying the right thing for me now because your energy has changed. That.
That's exactly right.
So thank you to the hormonal change. You did me a favor. So it's not to say it's an easy road, but it doesn't matter because if it's a hard road, then when you come out, you can celebrate, right?
It's like when I got diagnosed with the cancer. It was oh my God, I've spent a lifetime keeping the peace all the time around me because
Mm,
I just didn't like conflict. And
mm,
it was so funny. My mum called me 3 days after I was diagnosed, and we didn't have a very good relationship at all. And
mm,
she needed my help, and I remember saying to her, boy, your timing really sucks because, sorry, but I've just been diagnosed with uterine cancer and you're not a priority. I apologise, you're my mum,
mm.
but you're not a priority for me. And her response was, oh my God, don't do this to me. And I said, you don't get that. I said, I'm sorry, but you can't have that. This is my health issue, and you don't get to play the guilt thing or put a guilt thing on me that I'm doing this to you. And she went, but I've had so much in my life. And I said, I agree, you have, but this is mine and you're not taking the kudos for it. I need to look after me.
And
And
that
that
was
was one of the
that.
really
Yeah.
first times that I stood up to her. It was
Yes.
a blessing. And
Yes.
from that point on, our relationship was much better. And we had some really deep, deep conversations about who she is and who I am. And I spoke my truth. And I walked away seeing cancer as an absolute blessing for me. I really
Good.
did.
I'm
Mm.
really pleased for you. Yeah.
So I want this. There's one message. Some girls have asked me, how did I know I had uterine cancer? I didn't know I had uterine cancer, but I knew that there was something wrong. And it was all to do with the smell of my vagina had changed. There was something not right. And I just kept going back to the doctors, and they were saying, oh, it's because of your menopause, your hormones will be changing. And I went, yeah, I know what you're saying, but I think there's something else there. It's not, it just doesn't seem or feel right.
So if it
So
doesn't feel right, persevere. Is that what you're saying? So if it doesn't
yes,
feel right, persevere, and you just go to a second opinion or a third opinion
yeah.
or whatever. You need to get that answer if it doesn't feel right.
I I wanted to know why I'd had that bleeding. It just
Mm,
didn't make sense to me to go that
mm,
long and then have it again. So
that's right.
if anyone listens to this and they have some sort of spotting or they have some sort of
Mm,
smell that just
mm,
changes, then please just don't give up on yourself.
Oh, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful you say that message. Thank you so much. And I'm sure somebody, if you can help only one, it's better than none. It doesn't matter who it is, but somebody out there will hear your message and think, I better follow my gut.
Yes. And that's what we're all here for, Jose, is to support each other.
Yes.
You know, that's
yes.
Especially this year, we're here to speak our truth, and we're here to speak up and help each other through.
And Women's Day is coming up, and it's all about standing up.
Yes.
So make a photo of yourself with your hand up. Go stand up.
Okay.
Stand up for the change.
All right. Do we know what date is that?
8th of March.
Wonderful. Okay, so we've got to stand up with our hand up?
Yep, one hand.
Okay. All right, I can do that.
You can do that. See?
Okay.
But thank you so much, Joe. So remember,
my absolute pleasure.
Remember Women's Day. Hand up. You stand up. Stand up for change. And thank you so much for sharing your story. So
My absolute pleasure.